Hello, hello! I am pleased to report that today's stakeholder analysis went well. Also, perhaps now I can better articulate what the heck a participatory stakeholder analysis is. So here we go. Welcome to Ramblings with Rebecca. This is Notes from the Field. Okay, so today I got all of Darcy Hamad's, one of my current research partner in Morocco, staff together in one of their offices. And it's really exciting because it was one of the first times their new project team met with some of the other project members for different programs. So several different things happening that are broadly under the umbrella of development, education, culture, environment, but some of them happening in very different places, and the staff hadn't all met each other, or I should say properly had time to sit down and learn about each other's projects before. So that happened for the first time today, which was really cool. So we gathered, we did a fun icebreaker, always required, and then I set them into pairs. Most of the pairs were based on projects that they didn't know well. One person was partnered with another person whose project they didn't know well, and they had a worksheet walking them through what is your project about, what kind of problem is it trying to solve, and then particular to the stakeholder analysis, looking at the people, organizations, factors, things that are particularly interested in or influenced by or influence the project, asking them questions like who and what created the problem you're trying to solve, who and what can help solve it, who and what is hurt by the project, those kinds of questions. Got them to brainstorm and introduce their projects to each other. And then from that, they boiled it down to the 5 most important stakeholders in their individual projects. We then put all of the actors on sticky notes onto a big project map. Before the day, I had placed on cards the different names of projects that Darcy Ahmad works on. I had the executive director and a few other people draw links between the projects to see how they're all connected. And it was the first time that we had had the chance to do that and really see kind of the full picture of Darcy Ahmad, so that was fun. And then we took the 5 stakeholders from each project, put them physically on the map, saw where there were overlaps, stacked them on top of each other, and everyone got some tiles to vote with. And they went through and voted on which stakeholders they found most important to them, most important to the project, most influential, and kind of, the ones that were most significant to take into account. So this was particularly interesting for me as I'm looking at questions of agency and power in environmental peace building. So I wanted to know who they thought were the most powerful actors in the project, who is most important to consider, who has what power over which project and why, and perhaps then hopefully helpful for them in return in thinking about when doing these projects, what kinds of things do I have to consider, who do I need to bring into the planning process, and that kind of thing. So it's very, very cool. We had some debrief time, we had some conversations about some of the other important stakeholders. I got lots of really, really incredible data. Goal achieved. And then I also, since I'm looking at purpose as well, kind of why do we bother doing environmental peace building? What's the point? What are we aiming for? I had them go through for each of the individual stakeholders and tell me about the goals of those stakeholders and what they're trying to get. So I haven't looked through all of the data yet because a lot of it was written down in individuals and pairs. And I certainly haven't analyzed the data yet, so I don't know what it says. I didn't have a particular hypothesis. I guess general assumptions are that funding matters a lot for small-scale development projects, and that kind of the overarching system and governance structures and cultural institutions, that kind of thing, have quite a lot of power as well. But for my research, I'm particularly interested to see what came out about the environment in environmental peace building and how the water itself in the fog project that Darcy Ahmad does. I'll put a link below. It's very cool, and I will ramble about that properly sometime soon. What the water itself is doing or not doing, or if it has any kind of actual influence, or if it just happens to be there as a project, as kind of an excuse to do a project, if that makes any sense. I will articulate it better in the dissertation. Anyway, so it went well. Fieldwork, big check, 1 complete, and probably still not a very clear picture. Maybe I'll do one with you sometime.